Hi everyone, Nicole Littman here with Aurelian Coaching Weekly. Thanks for joining this week. This week we're talking about the decision to leave your job or not. Okay, now I'm not talking about very practical reasons to leave your job. Okay, so if you want to jump to another job because of salary or benefits or commute or a family move or any of those things, great. Evaluate the trade-offs, make a decision, go for it. Okay, what I'm talking about is how a lot of my clients come to me, which is they feel negatively about their current job for some reason, and they're looking to find a better position somewhere. And by better, it means they'll feel better. Okay, so they might be coming to me saying they're, on one end, it could be just dissatisfaction. For one reason or another, they're just dissatisfied with their current job. On the other end of the spectrum, I get people who tell me, I hate my job. I hate my job. Oh, okay. So they're looking for another job that they don't hate. They're looking for another job that will provide them with satisfaction, okay? They would love to have another job where they find fulfillment. That's a word that I hear, fulfillment. I want to exercise my passions in my job. All right, here's what and I'm not saying that those are bad things, okay, but here's what I want you to think about before you jump ship. I want you to neutralize all of those negative feelings about your current job. Neutralize them, okay? And so what this means, a couple things about this. I'm not suggesting that you go 180 degrees and be all, kumbaya and love and embrace everything that you currently hate about your job. That's not what I'm suggesting, okay? What I am suggesting is it gets very neutral, right? So you don't feel hatred, you're not trying to feel absolute joy about something that you hate. You just recognize that this is the way it is and it's neutral. There are a couple of reasons to do this. Number one is if you are able to neutralize a lot of the negative emotion around your current position, what I sometimes find in about, 30% of the cases that I'm working on is that people actually find their job a lot more tolerable. It turns out the negative emotion is something that you absolutely need to feed in order for it to exist. I promise you this, people, they're neutral. Circumstances, neutral. What you're doing, the actual work, neutral. Okay, what you feel about them, not neutral. You can choose to be really negative about it or really not negative, okay? And what I'm suggesting is that the negative emotion that you're feeding in your current position, if you're unhappy in it, is not serving you. It's not serving you. And a lot of people are saying, well, what does it matter? Like, why would I need to neutralize my negative feelings in the current job when I can just get another one, right? I feel bad now. I don't want to feel bad anymore. Let me go find another job and I don't feel bad. Problem solved. Here's the issue with that, okay? There's going to be something else. There's going to be something else. Number one, you cannot possibly predict every aspect about that new job while you're applying and interviewing and going through contract negotiations. You don't know, right? Not until you're in it. Not until you're in it for at least 3 months and you're doing the day-to-day and you meet all the people that you have to be working with, and you are actually operating under that company's or that organization's policies, right? You don't know what it's going to be like. Nick agrees with me. Thanks, Nick. Okay, so until you can learn to neutralize negative feelings and in a current job where you're unhappy, in the next job, whatever it's going to be, because it's going to be something that you don't like, you don't prefer, it's different than you thought it was going to be, there's something that's going to come up where if you never learned how to manage negative emotion and neutralize negativity, it's just going to come up in a different way in the future. Okay, so in 30% of the cases that I see, learning to neutralize negative thoughts about your current work situation has actually helped people find a way to work through it. Find a way to work through it, right? Things that were once absolutely intolerable, yeah, it's just the way it is. It's not so intolerable anymore. We can find a workaround. I can set a boundary to protect myself. Those are great solutions. Okay. So that's in about 30% of the cases that I've seen. Now, the other 2/3 are people who still want to leave their jobs and still go and find other jobs, but they're not carrying negativity with them. Okay? They are not looking for another job to solve their feelings about their current job. Because a new job can't do that. I'll be honest, right? And sometimes I'm coaching people and I'm talking to them about their current position, and I say, well, what was it like? Why, gosh, it sounds so horrible right now. What was it like when you started? And I said, oh, it was great. When I started, I was really excited. I was really pumped. But then it just turned out to be different than I expected. Or I got a new manager and that manager is really inexperienced, or I realized what it was like working with vendors and I just don't like that, or the job is so much more monotonous than I thought it was. Okay, again, those are all valid things, but if you are hating on your job for those reasons, you're just gonna bring that type of a reaction anywhere else you go. Okay, so that's what you need to solve for. And here's what I mean when I say neutralize. Okay, so I mentioned an inexperienced manager, so we can go with that example. So if you are dealing with somebody where you feel you are not getting enough support or professional development opportunities in a current position, right? This is what I hear all the time. There are no opportunities for growth. I want growth. Okay, that's fine. And a lot of people point to their existing manager as either not being experienced enough or not providing them with opportunities or not being a mentor to them and all of these things. Neutralizing is going about your day saying, my manager just really isn't that experienced, and I need to find a job where I have a more experienced manager who can help me with my growth. Fantastic, go find that job, right? But to say, I hate my manager, I hate that there's no growth for me. When you go to a different job and maybe you have a fantastic manager, congratulations, now you have all these opportunities for growth, right? Oh, but now you have this coworker that you really hate. Okay, every job is going to have little things about it that might feel like big things. They might actually be big things, right? But the way you think about it and respond to it will control your experience, okay? And so when you think about, this is the grass is greener syndrome, right? And this is where a lot of my clients are grappling. They're like, I'm concerned about making this jump and it being the wrong decision. I may make a change and it may not fix anything. Yeah, you are absolutely right. It does. The circumstance, you're going to be replacing the people and the circumstances and the environment and the culture and maybe even some of the work, right? All of those things get swapped out. And you still have no idea if that is going to fulfill you, right? So work on your thinking now. Neutralize all of those negative emotions that you feel about your current job before you get into a new job, okay? Because even if you find another job, now that you know how to manage that negativity and kind of neutralize it, I guarantee you, I promise you, you will be more successful in the other job, in the second job, if you know how to do that, okay? Here's the other thing that I want to talk about, which is this concept that a job should provide you with some fulfillment. This is the word that everybody uses, right? I want to be fulfilled. I want to feel that passion and fulfilled. That's great. It's a wonderful concept. But here's what I suggest. The job does not owe you any sort of fulfillment at all. Okay? You fulfill duties and responsibilities, you get paid. Quid pro quo, hey, we're done. Okay. This concept of fulfillment, okay, is something that you bring to the table. The job does not owe that to you, right? The job does not, now would it be nice? Yes, but, okay, whatever fulfillment you might be feeling initially may wear off if you are not bringing the opportunity for fulfillment to the table yourself. If you're just waiting for the job to give you whatever you need or what you're expecting or it doesn't quite work that way, right? For the people who are actually fulfilled and satisfied and all of that kind of stuff in their job, for the most part, they are bringing that to the table. They are finding ways. They're neutralizing negative thinking. They are looking for opportunities themselves. They are seeking and finding that fulfillment. Okay, so this is kind of a hard thing to do, but what I found with clients in the past or people that I've managed and mentored in the past, that when they have a lot of negative emotion about a job, and again, it doesn't have to be hate, but it could be something that, they just don't like something about it. They feel so strongly that they don't like a person or people or the culture or the environment or there's something about the work itself that they just don't like and they feel so strongly about it. They go to another job and then there's something else, because you can never tell what you get in a new job until you're in it. So I really like to try and train people to neutralize their thinking about the current situation and then make a decision. Because then is the grass really greener? Well, finding another job is not going to solve for all this negativity that you have, right? It's just going to be a different set of circumstances. You're just changing things up. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. If you read this week's blog, I have a couple of other examples of how to neutralize circumstances and your thoughts about your current work situation that might make this a little bit more tangible. And if you're a part of the Skill Masters group, you will get an email tomorrow with a one-page tool on how to practice this. So if you can go to aureliancoaching.com, and at the very top, you can just put in your name and email address and we'll slot you right in. And that's just one email a week. Next week, what is the topic? Next week, we're going to talk about procrastination. I have somewhat unconventional views about procrastination. If you look up procrastination on the job, 90% of the stuff out there is about how to stop being a procrastinator and how procrastination is awful. It's terrible. And you have to have better habits so that you no longer procrastinate. I have somewhat unconventional views. I don't always think that procrastination is a terrible thing. Now, I understand that there's a lot of stress around it, so I get that. But I'm going to present next week a different way of thinking about procrastination, and in fact, like getting away from that horrible, horrible label. And I have a couple of clients whose brains function a little bit differently. Like they take in information and process information differently, where what is traditionally called procrastination, if you can do it in a very mindful way, relieves some of the stress and is actually very, very productive for them. So you might fall into this camp. So that's what I'm going to be talking about next week. I'm going to describe what that is and talk about how to approach your projects, your decision making, all of your planning and activities a little bit differently, if that is something that you really struggle with. Okay, so that's next week, same time, same place. I hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for joining, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye now.